I'm not sure about the sound on that thing, but we'll find out.
Maybe, should we do it?
So I think I'm ready.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Okay, why did you choose to shift your farming methods towards regenerative soil practices?
That's an awkward question. You start at the beginning of the form, because at the beginning of the form I'm already immediately challenged when the...
you want to start with, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so we're supposed to be in a category.
Yeah, okay. Which award would you like to be considered for? Youth, Innovation, Dairy, Pastoral, Viticulture, Horticulture, Transition.
Can you say them again?
Youth, Innovation, Dairy, Pastoral, Viticulture, Horticulture, Transition.
Okay, which one do you think we fit in? Okay, I'll take it from there. Exactly. See, I don't think that way. This is what you know when I'm talking to you and to some other staff members about the infrastructure, and that the infrastructure is challenging to us. Well, this is a prime example of that. You're put into a corner, yeah. Now, you either do horticulture, but that's not even good enough, because you either do apples or pears, orchard, or you do broccoli, or you do... So all of a sudden you're talking about monocropping, yeah? And that's only half the story, because we do polycultures with animals. Why do we do polyculture with animals? That's the only way to take care of the soil. That's the only way to get soil quality, is to have a complex dynamic food web with all these organisms interacting, which result in complex dynamic food quality. So it's the same issue. Food quality, soil quality, they're directly related. So as soon as you become part of what's out there, you have to specialize, and you have to do trade-offs with regards to soil quality, and you do trade-offs with regards to food quality. So that's not part of my picture, that's not part of my way of thinking. So I'm challenged by that one. Now, we have to pick one, because we are part of this society, so the closest thing that I can come to is innovation, because from their point of view we're innovative, because we work with 50 lines of crops and animals. That could be considered innovation, but in my worldview we're not doing anything special. I would like to be innovative, but not by doing the expected thing, which is having a polyculture that provides environmental care and provides food quality. So innovation, we are not doing anything special for that. Innovation for me, it would mean that we develop, we are now working with equipment that comes out of the outside world, and we modified it a little bit so that it suits our purposes, but it's not set up for our purposes as such. But because of the way we are dealing with cash flow, that's what we work with. The innovation is my next step, is when we start modifying and making our own equipment, so that we have a living mills that fertilizes and stuff that we discussed before. So as we're not doing anything special in that area, and I don't see us being innovative either. So where do we go? It's a question.
Innovation,
really,
and I think innovation and horticulture.
Which is what I decided.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I think we just put two in, and we answer the questions to the best of our ability with regards to that, from that point of view.
Okay. All right.
If it's not clear, just ask.
No, yeah. No, that makes sense. Why did you choose to shift your farming methods towards regenerative soil practices?
Well, I never shifted my farming methods. I've been educated in soil microbiology, and I've been educated in soil quality, and all the time that I was studying, I had a huge, what do you call it? Dislike for all the stuff that we were putting on. Not that I knew why, but as I learned more and more about it, all the stuff that we put on is actually destroying the free ecosystem services that are actually there, which I discovered later on. There's a term for it, free ecosystem services. It's a broad complex of services that are provided for by nature, which makes you grow stuff for free. I always knew they were there. I couldn't name it. Now over the last 15 years I could name it, but I've never. What was the question again?
Why did you choose to shift your farming methods towards regenerative soil practices?
I never chose to shift it that way because it always felt wrong. When I started 20 years ago, I've been a consultant. I couldn't advise people to put that stuff on because I knew of the disadvantages. So I've never worked with it. So what do you put down there?
Well, what about changing the question to suit you and making it rather than why did you choose to shift your farming methods, why not just answer why do you farm in this way? I mean, why do you choose to farm in this way?
Okay, I can answer that question. So we farm this way because we're doing the opposite. Historically, free ecosystem services, everything that makes everything grow and become healthy and of high quality, has been replaced, substituted by inputs. So the agrochemicals, the biochemicals, they call them herbicides, pesticides and biocides. That's just a fallacy. They're all biocides. They are killers. They destroy part of the food web's complexity, which means they lose part of their functions. Some of the free ecosystems services are being lost by overuse of those inputs. So we've dropped them all together. I've dropped them all together straight from the beginning. All we are doing is figuring out what is required for those microorganisms, the insect populations, the plant population and the animal population, what is required for them to make a nice combination that complement each other. It creates complexity. So the only thing we actively do is actually create the right environment for them. Having said that, we still do an enormous amount of trades-off, because as far as farming goes, at this stage there's no other way as disturbing the environment. So every time you disturb it, you have to counteract that effect and compensate for it. So that is what we do. And in essence, how we measure our success, which is the good point, you listen to Fukuoka. He's contemplating do nothing, he's practicing do nothing. Well, this is how we measure our success. The less we do to get an end product, the better we are doing. We're still doing way too much. But having said that, we're doing far less, and we've basically dropped all our inputs, except for little bits here and there. So that's a good start, and because of that, our environmental care is a lot better, and our product quality is certainly a lot better than what you buy in the supermarket.
So in essence, the answer to the question simplified is 1, environmental care, and 2, food quality.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you're...
Yes, that's the key. That's the key aim.
They're the 2 things that you...
Because they're actually the same thing. If you have a closed cycle, yeah, that means all the elements that take care of quantity and quality. If the cycle is closed, all the elements are floating around in there. Yeah, hence that's why you need animals as well as plant communities. So all the animals are in there. If you're not overburning the environment, which is basically you're losing stuff from the system, so we are not creating losses, we have a semi-closed system, and if all the elements are recycled quantitatively, qualitatively, then you must have soil quality and you must have food quality. There's no 2 ways about it. As soon as you start leaching, the system starts leaching, which is called environmental degradation or pollution, then you've got something wrong. You haven't closed the living cycle, and it is a living cycle because it all comes down to microbes and insects, plants, and animals working together to close the cycle. And the key ingredients are the microbes. So for us the most important part is to create the right habitat for soil microbes. So that's basically it in a nutshell.